Good morning. So, just a couple of notes here is, after experimenting with the trend lines, I noticed that it becomes very messy, and there's a lot of entering and exiting. And so, if that's the case, even though that it is at times clear what the support is, I'm going to keep experimenting with that. But I also want to return to what I have currently, what I have already, which is the multi-time frame averaging lines, trend lines. And the reason why is because they create these risk-reward pockets. I've been noticing after focusing on this regular trend style, the regular trend technique that everyone uses. I've noticed that the regions that are made from these multi-time frame trend lines are still very useful, and there's also the couple of observations that I want to make, points that I want to make about this. So the first is that you can tell that these lines were created about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 weeks ago. It's going on the 7th week. And when I initially created this strategy, I was referring to pockets of a risk and reward, and the risk pockets being comparing these two, or comparing these pocket regions, and the shorter regions representing the risk region, the stop region, and the larger regions representing the reward regions. So we can see that a couple of things happening here. Most of the lines, you see that most of the lines happening were underneath the price action, which means that these lines were acting as support. They were acting as polarity, and because the price was above most of these lines, then that means that this is a highly resistant area of price, which means that it was acting as support. And you can see that that's exactly what it did. The price used it as support to go to regions that didn't have as many of those lines. So in previous videos, I said that price, these lines represent price at some point having to return to them as they are median values. But they can also act as support, as a resistant. They can have a resistant effect, and so price will choose going towards the path of least resistance. That's also an effect that can happen, and that's what it's doing right now. So the path of least resistance is not through this range here, and so it's the other way. And so we've got that other way happens to be where the mid lines for the longest ranges are, and the next range in that will be encountered is the weekly middle range, the weekly mid range here. So so this is the target that I'm currently expecting as the reward region, as the maximum of this reward region. And you can see that this region is 800 pips compared to this region, which is 360 pips. So as far as risk reward, this is the risk region, and it has been that way since this time, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, just about 5 weeks. So you can see it's been progressing up to that point, up to this target since 5 weeks. This has been the risk region, and this has been the reward region. So it's been filling that. And I think that the reason why this had flatlined, entered into a contraction, is because you can see that there's a point here where this region goes from being clearly the risk region into some kind of middle section here. So at this point, you've got 480, 450 pips. You've got 490 pips. So we can try here's 420 pips, 530. So somewhere around here, exactly where it flattened out, is where it became unclear. Is this the risk, or which is the risk and reward? But now it is very clear that this is more the this becomes the risk region, and this becomes the reward region, right? So then we can see the price is heading down here. Now, I think that, but as far as these lines are concerned, so as far as these two regions are concerned, this is now the reward region, and this is the target, and this was the risk. But as far as these two regions are concerned, this is still the risk region, and this is the reward region. So I think and we can see that is until, that extends into the future there, considerable amount of time to the future. So even at this point here, we've got 730 pips to 460. So even at this point, even after a couple of weeks, this will still be the reward to risk. So it's possible that this will come down and use this as support, and then go back up for the target here. So what it's doing right now, that's what I think it is doing right now. So it's possible for the next couple of weeks it will come down to this support here, and then we'll return to trying to hit this as a target. Okay, so these essentially are, this is very helpful for MetaTrader to identify these time zones, these time ranges, automatically, because that was one of the hints to me that these should be used to create the regions, to make these regions, risk reward regions that we have here. Apply the trend lines on them, and then get these regions. So they don't do that as much in trading platforms now, but for whatever regions they give, they do segment them into these into different regions, and if you can use them to make these to apply this type of strategy, then feel free to. Okay, so now another so another way to confirm what the direction is with this is using a different pair. So if I'm expecting this to hit this target up here, that means that it's appreciating with the euro. It's euro appreciation that I'm expecting, and USD depreciation. So is that what I am seeing on the USD JPY, on the UJ? So currently if we have this downtrend, if I'm expecting these downward targets, I think actually I have more the way it looks here, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trends on above the price action, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 below the price action. It's like right in the middle, and the monthly and weekly, the longest range averages are are below, targets are below the price range, which is the same as the UJ. If you're looking for the long-term result, we've got the monthly, the longest averages above the price action. So even though so with the euro, it's clear that the support, most of the support, is under the price action. We only have two of the longest term targets above the price action, but with the UJ, it's more averaged out. So the Euro US is more, I guess, in that way, Eurocentric, and the UJ is just balanced. It's like perfectly, it's more balanced. It's not centric on either pair. But the longest averages are still below. Longest time frame averages are still below. So, but as far as the near term risk reward regions, you can see that it is favoring the below targets. So, and the current price value here, the risk region is 500 and about 530 pips away, and the reward region is about 830 pips away. So it's currently favoring this this downside target here, which is the 15-minute time frame. Now remember, these averages, these risk reward regions, I created about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one about 2 months ago, and you can. So I think what's important is, as I mentioned to a colleague earlier, is that it's not the continual retracing of, even though that is a strategy you could use. You could continually retrace them after, after each update if you wanted to, or you could just set the regions and use old regions like I did here, which was about 2 months ago. The last time I changed this was around 2 months ago, and you can still see that it's respecting this these regions, because this is a geometry that's the regions are a type of geometry, so it's identifying using regions as regions identified defined by averages. It is revealing a geometry that is there on the price structure. And so you can see that's why it's still using it even after 2 months. It's still using this this geometry, these regions. So because of that, but as far as the trend strategy that I was looking at, and we also have that on gold and platinum. So on gold, you can see another example of it. It uses the support structures even more, these support averages, or these time frame averages as support even more. And then on platinum, it's moving around the averages themselves. So platinum was not a very good example of these regions, still tradable, but after maybe not, maybe it's moving around the averages, to the time frame averages too much, more than the current strategy I use. But as far as risk reward regions and using the averages as support, that is working a lot more on gold, as you can see here. You've got this, for example, you've got this risk region. These lines were applied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 about 6 weeks ago. You can see that it used this risk region here, and used it as support, and now it's as the minimum of a retracement, and now it's going back up into this reward region. So I would expect it to hit this as a target. But as far as using regular trend lines, in the short term, this appears to be quite messy. So unless you are not sensitive to that, and you're more comfortable with this type of style, then you could keep doing that. And I also think you could use this as regions also. You could identify regions and also intersections, and decide, if you want to target different sides of regions, and measure that as risk reward, the same as you would with these averages. But I'm gonna be using both from now on, and going back to these charts as well. So that's what we have currently.